Joe, are you all ready? Okay, are we streaming right now? Okay. Well, I'm going to call this meeting to order. I want to welcome folks who are here at the meeting, our school board members, our administrative team. This is our October board voting meeting. I do want to say before we start that we did have an executive committee meeting in advance of the voting meeting this evening, and that was for personnel matters. Also want to thank and welcome those people who are attending on or participating and watching us on live streaming through YouTube. And at this time, I think we will stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I did want to indicate also as well that we have two of our board members who are participating via Zoom. And if we could at this time, Mr. Fike, if we could have a roll call vote for attendance purposes, please. Or roll call for attendance.
Dr. David Hemberger.
Here.
Allison Wilson.
Here.
Hunter Ahrens.
Here.
John Fiddler.
Here.
Dr. Ann Herring.
Present.
Michael Japina.
Here.
Dr. Sharon McClendon.
Here.
Huri Miller.
Here.
Michelle Stratton.
Here.
All present.
Thank you, Mr. Fike. We're going to start off this evening with the superintendent's report, and I'll turn the meeting over to Dr. Miner.
Thank you, Dr. Hemberger. We have been hard at work throughout the district in planning for our hybrid reopening. We have received almost 100% of our commitment forms from parents regarding their choice between our full virtual option or returning for the hybrid model. I do want to thank all of the parents who took the time to complete that, and to the parents who have been communicating their concerns to building principals, to me and other members of the team, and their thoughts. They're always helpful and appreciated as we plan to move forward. And I especially want to thank our teachers, our support staff, our administrators who've all been working diligently to pull those plans together. We did receive notice at a county superintendent's meeting that was called yesterday that Berks County and Schuylkill County have moved into the substantial rate of transmission. We were reminded by PDE and the Department of Health that a single move into that category does not qualify as reason to make any changes, that you would need to have at least 2 weeks in a category before it would be appropriate to consider changes to a plan. So they will be reporting back to us next week, and I will keep the board apprised of that information. And the community can find information regarding that on the Department of Education and Department of Health's website. Other than that, I want to continue to thank our students, families, and teachers for their diligent work in our virtual learning model. I've had the opportunity to go into several classrooms, and it's been a delight to see our students and our teachers interacting, and we all look forward to when we're doing that in the building. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miner. This is the time in the agenda where we'll accept public comments. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to make a comment to the board, whether it's a member of the public, an employee, students, are invited to offer comment. Please, in advance of making a comment, provide your name, address, and you'll be limited to 4 minutes. We'll accept comments at this time, and our microphone is right over here. Seeing no comments, we'll move on into the agenda. I do want to remind board members that this is a consent agenda, which means that we went through this agenda in its entirety last Tuesday at our workshop meeting. We had an opportunity to discuss and review all of the items that were on the agenda, Anything that's new or introduced since last week will be bolded on your agenda. So as we go through and we go into each section of the agenda, we typically group items together for efficiency purposes and for the vote. However, if any board member would like us to break out any specific item on the agenda under each area, just feel free to speak up and we'll separate that vote. Are there any questions about the consent agenda? Okay, so we'll move forward with minutes. And it's recommended the Board of Directors approve the minutes from September 8th and September 15th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Treasurer's report. It's recommended that the Board of School Directors approve the following, the Treasurer's report for September and the payment requests as per the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Board policy is item 6 on the agenda. We have items for first reading and second reading. It's recommended that the Board of School Directors approve the following policies for first reading: Policy 237 and Policy 815.2. And for second reading, Policy 203, Policy 246, Policy 247, Policy 705.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Personnel. Mrs. Wilson.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following personnel items: 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following personnel items. Number 3, appointments for administrative staff A, certificated substitutes, guest teachers.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following personnel items. Dr. Christy Haller, Human Resources Director, effective 10/21/2020.
Any discussion?
Dr. Hamburger, I just want to state that I'll be abstaining from this vote due to a previously stated conflict. I have adhered to Policy 006 in providing documentation to that effect.
Thanks, Mr. Ahrens. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Oh, we have one abstention. So it's 8, 0, and 1. Thank you. Motion carries. Is that it, Mrs. Wilson, for personnel? Thank you. That's a lot of items. Let's get through that. Wow. Okay. I think we're up to business functions. Mr. Ahrens.
Thank you, Dr. Hamburger. It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following business functions items: 1, 2, 3, and 4, dealing with an appointment, exonerations of tax bills, and signatories on bank accounts.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Student functions. Mrs. Stratton, are you able to do that, Mrs. Stratton, or should we have?
I am, thank you. So the first one is a report on a field trip. Below, it's listing occurring within a 60-mile radius, and that is the senior high marching band traveling to Elverson to participate in the Elverson Halloween Parade. And then it is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following student function items 1 through 6.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, I think we can move on to committee reports. Athletic Committee, Mr. Japina.
Yes, I would just like to once again acknowledge the commitment from our athletic program and our athletic director, and also our booster clubs, in adhering to the health and safety plans that we put in place this summer. The adherence to that plan across the board has been very positive and very helpful in terms of ensuring that we could continue to have fall sports in a meaningful way, and really be able to offer our school community an opportunity to come together and support each other. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Japina. Business Functions Committee, Mr. Ahrens.
Just a quick report on our meeting this evening. The Business Functions Committee met this evening to discuss the placement of an opt-out resolution on the November agenda for the 2021-2022 school year and budget. It was reported out of committee successfully, in that all members favored moving it to the agenda for November to discuss at the workshop meeting and then vote on at the voting meeting. So that'll be on the agenda upcoming. We also briefly touched on topics that will likely be coming on agenda this coming November, dealing with review of the audit by the auditors for the board members who are interested in participating, and also reviewing proposals regarding transportation procurement. And I believe that there was one other one, the contract regarding tax collection. So those 3 items are going to be looked at this November, and then we're also going to start preparing for December and January around budget goals that we're going to be looking at for this coming budget year.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Ahrens. Curriculum Committee, Dr. McClendon. Are you able to report, Dr. McClendon?
I believe she asked Mr. Miller to deliver her report.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Mr. Miller.
The first thing is the Title I reading program, third-party contract with the Berks County Intermediate. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the third-party contract agreement between Exeter Township School District and the Berks County Intermediate Unit to provide in-person or virtual remedial reading instruction services in accordance with Title I reading program for Exeter non-public students for the period of August the 1st through June the 15th, 2021, at a cost of $6,242.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Oh.
Thanks, Mr. Miller.
No problem. There's also the enrollment report in terms of that. So is there a vote on that, or?
No, that's just, I think it's just public information.
Public information? Okay. We'd also like to recognize that we're first in math recognition for Rifton schools. We're ranked 6th in the nation, which is excellent. We also had a student, a second grader, that was ranked 12th in the nation for that. So congratulations to those kids at Rifton schools. So they really are doing some good things with the math program.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Facilities Committee, Mr. Fidler.
Yes, just briefly, we are in the process of setting up our next meeting. It looks like we'll have it sometime the second week of November, and of course that will be open to the public, and we will be submitting advertising and other public notifications ahead of time.
Thank you, Mr. Fidler. Personnel Committee, Mrs. Wilson.
Nothing to report.
Policy Committee, things are going on, just as usual, no report. Student Functions Committee, Mrs. Stratton.
No report.
Technology Committee, Mr. Miller.
Only thing to report is I'd like to thank Joe Way for getting this all set up just again, because we're now in real time. There's no delay, which is great. So he's been doing a great job. We got a lot to work on in the next couple of weeks when we get school open and virtual and also in real time. So that's going to be something of a challenge. And I really appreciate those guys and how hard they work on that. So just an acknowledgement of anything.
Yeah, thanks very much. Also, I really appreciate it myself. Exeter Community Education Foundation, Dr. Hearing.
Yes, ECEF is pleased to donate $8,395.20 for all 6 schools to obtain licenses for Learning Alley, an online literacy program for special needs students. We'd also like to thank Mitsubishi Chemical, formerly Quadrant, for their $3,000 ELTC donation. And that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Herring. Berks Tech Center, Dr. McClendon or Mr. Miller.
Yes, so BCTC met on Wednesday, September the 23rd. They reviewed the school improvement plan was reviewed. They also started an ad hoc anti-racism, equity, and diversity committee was established. They approved the state board allowing the cosmetology students to have 50% of their hours done virtually. There was 2 cases of COVID. Building was closed, but the students were returned in-person learning 2 days early. The sale price of the student-built house is going for $372,500, and the investment was $349,000. Refer to the JOC minutes that were emailed to the board for more information. The next meeting will be held on September the 28th, which I guess that's supposed to be October the 20th. No problem. That's it.
Is that all?
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. BCIU Board of Directors, there was a meeting this past Thursday, October 15th, and I did send around to the board members a copy of the high points of that meeting, what happened at the BCIU board meeting in terms of the voting items. Also, the October 2020 news link, which is a really good, monthly newsletter that, pretty much features their employee of the month, as well as all the other initiatives that they've been involved in. And the final piece that board members received was the legislative update, which contains the relevant legislative items that are happening in Pennsylvania that are relevant to public education. The next meeting of the BCIU board will be on Thursday, November the 19th. Legislative liaison, Mr. Fiddler.
Nothing to report beyond the legislative part of the BCIU meeting. So thanks for sending that around.
Thanks, Mr. Fiddler. Township Borough Liaison, Mr. Chapina.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Hamburger. I would just report that we maintain open lines of communication with both the Township and St. Lawrence, but at this point there is no business before the board. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chapina. Well, that's the end of our committee reports. Are there any board members who would seek to be heard at this time?
Yeah, if I may just ask a quick question. Dr. Minor, would it be possible for you to report the statistics on the return to school forms that we have to date relative to the November 2nd hybrid restart?
Mr. Chapina, I can give you those as ballpark figures at this point in time, but I could report to the board more exact figures when I have them from the principals tomorrow. At this point, we have approximately 25% of our K-4 students who are opting to remain full virtual and 75% who are opting to come in for blended learning or hybrid learning, as it's called. At Rifton, it's approximately 70% of our students whose parents have committed them to come in for hybrid learning and 30% who are opting for full virtual at this time. At the junior high, the numbers are approximately the same, 70% return, 30% virtual. And at the senior high, it is almost a 50-50 split on return and full virtual. Again, those are approximations, and I would be happy to report exact numbers out to the board later this week.
Thank you.
Right now, I'm going to be making a motion that our schools will open on November 2nd, 2020, following the hybrid plan, with the virtual option that was presented at the curriculum meeting earlier this month.
Second.
All right, here's the motion. I make a motion to edit the emergency instructional time template, section 520.1, that was approved October 13th, 2020, to strike the following language in Appendix A. And whenever county is categorized as having substantial transmission levels by PADOH, and while county remains categorized as having moderate or lower levels of transmission by PADOH.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could I just get some clarification on the motion? So my understanding of what you're saying is that right now, as a school district, if we remain in a substantial category in terms of the COVID spread, that we would be required, based on what we submitted previously, to go back to full virtual or to not open up in the blended or hybrid plan that we have in place. And this motion kind of strikes that condition and allows us to continue to stay or to open in a blended or hybrid model, despite the fact that the county might be in a substantial condition of pandemic transmission. Am I correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I do think that the board has expressed sincere frustration with the guidance or lack thereof from the Pennsylvania Department of Health. We're attempting to do the best that we can with the information that we have, but the DOH has provided no clear, directives for us to act.
So is there any further discussion?
Yes, I'm not clear on this motion. Are we saying that if we go to substantial, that we are saying that we would not go to full virtual?
That's, Dr. McClendon, I believe that's the recommendation. Right now, our plan is to go to a blended model starting November 2nd. But in the event that it's substantial, over the next 2 weeks, it's very likely that based on what we've already submitted to PDE, we would not be able to open up schools. I think we understand as a board that we have a pretty phenomenal plan that we have in place with a lot of protections for students. And, we believe that with the plan that we have, that students would be able to attend school safely based on what we know right now.
So I thought we previously said that if the numbers went up and it went into substantial, that we would go full virtual.
And that's the language we're modifying right now.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any noes?
Well, I'm a no if I'm understanding it correctly, because I would be a no because if I feel that it's not safe, like because numbers are going up, then I would want us to be able to go full virtual.
Okay, so Dr. McClendon is a no. Any abstentions?
As far as me understanding the motion.
I'm sorry. One more time?
Are you asking me?
Yes, you said something?
Well, I said I was a no as long as I'm understanding the motion correctly.
Yeah, I think you understand the motion correctly.
Okay, then I'm a no.
Yeah. Do you need any more explanation on the motion?
I don't think so. I mean, because I would want, I was my understanding when we had conversation about this before, discussion about this before, that if the numbers increase to substantial, and we felt it wasn't really safe to bring students back, that we would be full virtual. And so it's, my understanding of the motion is that we're saying we would still stay blended even if numbers go up.
Yes, you understand the motion, that's
Then
correct.
I'm a no.
Any further discussion? Or, I'm sorry, any further questions on the vote?
We already voted.
Yes. Is there any other, I mean, I got the no's. Were there any abstentions? Okay, I think the motion carries 8-1. Am I correct?
Correct.
Good, thank you. Any other board member who seek to be heard at this time? If not, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice night.